Welcome to this episode of
Tasting with the Farmers. In today's 2020 holiday edition, we'll be pairing homemade Fruitcake Vertical, spanning an aging period of 11 years, with the always wonderful Taylor 20-year Tawny.
We'll be joined in this endeavor by the delightful Suzanne Dolberg in her very delightful dirndl.
I'm really excited to be here and excited to try 11-year-old fruitcake and see what it tastes like and see if I don't die. And I'm also really curious to see if the alcohol in the various ages of the fruitcakes ends up mellowing over time. I do love a tasty science experiment.
How do you keep cake edible for decades? The earliest recipe for cakes with fruit come from ancient Rome. Later, in the Middle Ages, honey, spices, and preserved fruits were added. Making fruitcake for me generally is a 3-day process to prepare 12 pounds of cake, starting with candying the citrus and cherries. We in the farmer household say boo to nuts in our fruitcake, but I do add pecans for friends and family. The cakes are then wrapped in brandy-soaked cheesecloth, plastic, aluminum, and stored. We do this process every single year.
Like champagne from France, true port may only be made from Portugal, most notably in the beautiful Alto Douro Valley. Still picked by hand, the grapes start out similar to other red wines, and after the stomping, put to ferment. With port, however, brandy is added to stop fermentation, and tawnies are stored in small wooden casks. Tawny ports pair especially well with sweet delicacies, such as fruitcake, cheeses, and richer foods like foie gras, charcuterie, and the like. Today, to complement our vertical, we have one of the finest tawnies in the world, the Taylor 20.
I didn't taste any alcohol in any of them. Like, it didn't feel boozy, you know, like.
Wait, you walk around a little bit, you'll.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I really was surprised at how different each one was. Like, the 2020 was obviously the most fresh version, and it felt rugged, you know, like a sports bar. Like, yeah, super orangey. And
sporty cake.
Yeah, it was a sporty cake. Felt like you should like put it in your backpack and go.
Are these all kind of relate to the Spice Girls?
I was going to call it Sporty Spice. Yeah, it's the Sporty Spice of fruitcake, for sure. I really also liked the 2018 and the 2016. Actually, the 2016 was probably my favorite because it came on kind of mellow, and then you would have another bite, or like it was like the last chew, and you get like this little spice, and it was very exciting. And then I have to say, I think we all agreed that the 2014 was kind of like,
We don't talk about the 2014.
Then the 2012 really came back strong. I felt like it had a super bright flavor.
Yeah.
And then the 2010 was, it was 11 years old.
Yeah, right. So the 2010...
In the Walker.
I do believe was made without eggs, and the other recipes have 6 eggs in them. It was a mistake in the cookbook, which they then later corrected. But everything is made with the same recipe.
Yeah, I thought the 2010 though the fruit came out a bit more than the ones a few years before because there wasn't eggs. That's all there was.
The freshness of the fresh cake, I really like the citrus flavors and
fruitcake in the time of cholera.
There's definitely a ledge going into the 2018, which is a bit drier. Everything's more melded together, and then there's a cliff at 2014, which is definitely just kind of forgettable. And yeah, the 2010 is still holding its own. Those are in pieces. They are wrapped and covered in alcohol every single year. I would have thought the alcohol would be kind of overwhelming or strong forward, but it's not. It's just kind of there in the background.
Yeah, I thought the port actually, went better with the younger ones. I thought it would go better with the older ones. But for me, I thought it was more simpatico.
Maybe if we would have poured the port over the 2014.
Yes, that really would have there's a town in Colorado that has on January 3rd a throw the fruitcake.
Fruitcake chucking contest. Yes.
And so, yeah, evidently, I guess it hasn't happened in a couple of years, but I watched a video of the 2008 one, and like people will go up and like see how far they can throw it. And then they also have
A full cake or like a
yeah, a
piece
full
of
cake.
cake?
Full cake.
A full cake. You just huck it and see how far you can throw it. And then there's also like a trebuchet. And then there was also like a fruitcake bazooka.
A fruit zuka.
A fruit zuka that you could aim. That I think somebody aimed at like one of those 1990 CRT monitors.
Yes.
And just destroyed it. It's amazing.
Wow. Oh, that's what good thing.
Our
A fruit
local
zuka.
Washington Boeing team won the fruitcake chucking contest
Oh.
like a couple years ago with their trebuchet. Yes.
Wow.
Well, that looks like all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us for Tasting with the Farmers and Suzanne.
Hey.
Cheers.
And may all of your holidays be the happiest.
Merry
Cheers.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. In today's 2020 holiday edition, we'll be pairing homemade fruitcake and an 11-year-old vertical spanning
And I love a tasty science experiment.
How do you keep cake for decades?
fruit cake decade.